Welcome to So Very Easy. My name is Laura, and by special request, I'm going to be doing a block of the month follow along. Quilting Confections in Windsor, Ontario has opened up this pattern for us to follow along with. It is going to be a lot of fun. I do hope you join me as we make Rainbow Sorbet. The block of the month is going to consist of 20 blocks, and all 20 blocks are going to be 12.5 inches. The colors are going to be very, very pretty. The patterns are going to be free for you to download each month. If you want, you can go to their site and get the fabric if you'd like to follow along with the exact fabric. And if there's going to be a half square triangle in the patterns, they are going to be using the Eleanor Burns Quilt in a Day Square Up Ruler. And you can get this at almost any quilt shop. When I do a block of the month, I like to do 2 blocks each month of the same pattern. One with the colors that they have chosen and one that's totally different. That way I'm going to have 2 quilts at the end of that time period. And this time I'm going to use up just scrap fabric. I have a pile of these blocks that have already been cut, and this was for another project that I never did get around to making. And because there's a lot of different colors in here, I'm going to be able to pull out a lot of different scrap fabrics and use them to make the block. So every block's going to be different, but it's going to all be based around this color. And where they've put light, I'm going to be putting a dark, so it's going to look totally different when it's all done. So let's start with block number 1, which is the churn dash block. It's a very simple but effective block, and it's going to look beautiful in these colors. The centerpiece is going to be this beautiful color with a little bit of an orange and some dots in it. That square needs to be cut at 4.5 inches. It's going to be a little bit big, so you're going to be able to trim it down. The background fabric is the white, so we're going to cut 2 5.5 inch squares from the white and 4 2.5 inch squares by 4.5 inches. This beautiful fuchsia is going to be cut at 4 pieces at 2.5 inches by 4.5 inches. We don't have to worry about this bleeding at all into the fabric because all of their fabric is pre-washed before it's put in kits. And then that second sherbet is going to make the corner squares, and you need to cut 2 at 5.5 inches. Place the 5.5 inch background square plus the fabric C background square 5.5 inches together. Draw a line from corner to corner, stitch 1/4 inch on each side, then you're going to be able to cut those apart. The blocks are made a little bit bigger so we can square them up so we can have perfect seams. So before you press them open, we're going to square them up with that Quilt in a Day ruler. The ruler has 2 sides to it. We have your 1 inch measurements on one side and the 1/2 inch on the other. I'm going to square up these half square triangles to 4.5 inches. So I'm going to be using this 4.5 inch line. And that line is a line that you put on top of the threads that you just stitched. So here's my stitching line. That 4.5 inch mark goes along the stitching line, not along the seam allowance. So it won't matter what size you use, that line has to go on the stitching line. So even if you've sewn a little bit crooked, you're going to be fine because you're going to be able to line that line up right along that stitching line. Then you're going to take the rotary cutter and cut off the extra. When you press it open, it will equal 4.5 inches. After you've trimmed that, you're going to be able to open it up and press the fabric going to the darker side. Press very carefully so that you don't stretch it. A lot of times I find finger pressing is going to be enough. Do that to both of your squares so you will have 4 of these half square units. So both the fuchsia and the white need to be cut in 4 strips at 2.5 inches by 4.5 inches. Sew the 2 units together along the long edge and press the seams towards the pink. We now have 4 units, and these are 4.5 inch square. The unit's going to be put together so that the fuchsia or the pink is coming into the center and that orange is pointing inside. We'll sew each of the 3 units together and then sew the rows together. However, there are many different ways you can rearrange this block. You can have them so that the light is coming into the center. What happens is this now takes a different shape along the outside. You can also change the squares so that the white or the background goes towards the center. It gives it a whole total different look. Because these are 4.5 inches, you can also put them on their sides, which gives it a pinwheel effect. Changing the corners again will give you even another look. You can continue to change these and get a total different look from the same set of pieces. But because I'm following along, I'm going to sew them together as the recommended color combination. And this makes us that churn dash. So let's sew the 3 pieces together and then the 2 rows. To press, I've taken the top and the bottom row and have pressed towards the inside. The center row, I've pressed it out, and that way those seams will nestle together. It's a very pretty block. Let's see what it's going to look like in the dark, scrappy fabric. I'm going to start with my floral print and pull in a burgundy, a pink, and a solid black. And I'm going to make the half square triangles out of the pink and black. The floral is going to be the center, and where the light is, I'm going to have my dark on the 4 corners. Where the light is going to be my dark. That dark combination really changes it. The bonus is you can change this block even still if you don't like this combination. By doing a secondary block, it gives you a chance to experiment with different colors and different combinations that you normally might not have done. So no matter how you put it together, it's going to work out fine. You can play around until you find an arrangement you like. Sew them together, same as you did the first one. Sew the 3 units together and then sew those 3 rows together. One great block, 2 different colorways. I'll put a link in the description to Quilting Confections and to the free pattern. I do hope you join along as we make rainbow sorbet. Thank you for joining me today on Sew Very Easy. Feel free to subscribe, and as always, come on back. Let's do more sewing next time in the sewing room. Bye for now.